How's it going, guys? It is me, Stateside, aka Noah here, with a new video. We're going to be taking a look at every Premier League summer transfer that has been a letdown so far this season. Every Premier League team's summer signing disappointment so far this season. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get right into it. I don't want to waste anyone's time, but if you do enjoy the video at all, please leave a like down below and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video. Anyways, let's go ahead. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Arsenal, I got to go with Fabio Vieira. I think Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus have been excellent signings. I think they were both excellent and have done a great job for the team. It has to be Fabio Vieira because he hasn't gotten the minutes, and he may not be at the level yet he needs to be at. I think he'll be very good in the future. He may have to slide out for a loan temporarily. He may need to get some more minutes somewhere because cups aren't doing the trick for him right now. He needs to develop, and that is definitely the problem for him currently. Is just he's not getting those development minutes that he needs to improve. Aston Villa, Felipe Coutinho. Felipe Coutinho has been a disaster. He did okay on loan. They signed him on a permanent deal. I can't remember the exact price of the deal. Ends up becoming a bench player. Emery's never going to play him, let's face it. He's not going to play under Unai Emery. It's going to be just an absolute disaster for Aston Villa. This signing, he needs to be try to move him on again in the summer. It's not going to work out here at Aston Villa for Felipe Coutinho. Bournemouth, it's got to be the Argentine center back, Senesi. He was in a defense that shipped 9 goals. I mean, you can't pick anyone else from the list of signings. Tavernier's done a job. Neto, since coming in after the 9-0, has done a great job of keeping them in games. Senesi, I mean, you shipped 9. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. Yeah, you've kind of gotten better over the season, but I mean, you couldn't get worse than allowing 9 goals in a game. So for me, he has been Bournemouth's worst signing by far. Brentford, I got to go with Keane Lewis-Potter. Just because of game time, I think he's kind of been signed early on to be an early replacement for, players moving on here in the future. I don't think, really anything there was expected. But, I mean, you spent $19 million for 9 appearances and 1 assist. Was it ever really going to go any other way for Keane Lewis-Potter? I mean, $19 million, hasn't made an instant impact, and $19 million to a championship club is a disaster waiting to happen. This might be one of the worst moves I've seen Brentford make since making their move to the Premier League. For Brighton, it's got to be Billy Gilmour. Billy Gilmour was signed to be a player under Graham Potter, develop, become a world-class talent at Brighton under Graham Potter, and what does he do? He leaves to Chelsea, exactly where Billy Gilmour has come from. So it's an absolute disaster move for him. It's a disaster for Brighton, and it's just not worked out whatsoever. Chelsea, this is a tough one because you've got 2 players here who have just not played very well. You have one player who's played very poorly, and you have one player who hasn't played very much at all. The first one being Cucurella. He's not played very well. He's just not been very good. I couldn't pick one. And the other one being Aubameyang, who's not even been registered for the Champions League squad. He's not even going to play in the Champions League for Chelsea. He's not even an option for Chelsea in the Champions League knockout stages. And it has just been a disaster move for Aubameyang. And they couldn't even sell him in the winter because he can't play for another club this year other than Barcelona. So it's been an absolute mess of a move for him. He can't do much about it. And because of the rules and regulations, he's stuck at Chelsea for the rest of the season, getting 0 game time, and that's why he's joint worst signing for Chelsea in my opinion, because they're not even going to play him. They don't even have they've not even given him an opportunity to earn game time. He's pretty much been phased out of the team at this point, and he's not going to get much game time whatsoever. But again, Cucurella has been an absolute god awful signing, especially for the price that Chelsea have paid. Crystal Palace, I got to go with Sam Johnstone. I mean, Richards was injured. Doucouré's been great, and since Richards come back from injury, he's been playing, and he's been playing great. So I'm going to go with Sam Johnstone. He was the only other signing, and the other 2 have been so good. You got, I guess, the backup goalie. He's a backup goalie. You don't expect him to play well. You don't expect great things from him, but here we are. Sam Johnstone, you're the worst signing. Everton, this one's pretty easy. Neil Maupay. I mean, Garner's at least 21 years old, so you can at least, say, oh, he's got a future ahead of him. Neil Maupay, you've scored 1 goal, and you don't really have much of a future. You're supposed to be at your peak years right now. You're supposed to be at the top of your game, and you're scoring 1 goal in the Premier League for Everton. That's terrible. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin's given you plenty of game time. So obviously you came in as a backup for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You were expected to be the bench option for him, and of course, just as you know, he gets injured. And now you're supposed to be starting games and you're just not doing anything for Everton. And that's why you are just relegated to the bench at this point for Everton. Who knows what Sean Dyche is going to do with him. Sean Dyche seems to have played him the other day. I mean, I know he got into the scuffle with Zinchenko, so who knows? Maybe Neil Maupay can turn his season around. For Fulham, it's got to be Kevin Mbabu. He was expected to start, and that's the only reason I'm picking him over Carlos Vinicius. Vinicius was at least expected not to start over Mitrovic. Everybody knew Mitrovic was the number one option at striker for Fulham. Kevin Mbabu was supposed to take that right back spot and make it his and be that spot in defense that Fulham had a weakness at, that they were trying to fill that void in, and it's ended up not working out for them whatsoever. For Leeds, it's got to be Brendan Aronson. He's been not very good. He's been very inconsistent. He's part of the reason that Jesse Marsch has had his downfall, because he just hasn't been a player that can do what you need out of a number 10. And, obviously having Mark Roca and Tyler Adams behind him has been excellent. You allow him to go run forward and do press and do all these great and wonderful things to the back line of teams and cause terror there, but he's got no end product. He's got no dribbling. He's got no passing. He just runs, and that's as an American who wants to cheer for him. You can see I've got the Pulisic stuff right here. I would love nothing more than Brendan Aronson to be the greatest player of all time, of course, but it's not true. And he hasn't been very good at signing for Leeds. For Leicester, it's pretty easy. It was their only signing, as Wout Faes, and there could have been 100 signings, and he would still be my pick, because Wout Faes has been awful for Leicester. He has not been the Fofana replacement that they expected him to be. He's just not been a very good player overall for Leicester City, and it's much less a replacement for Fofana. And that is why he is, without a doubt, would have been Leicester's worst signing. If they had made 10 other signings in the same position, he would be the worst one of them all. For Liverpool, it's got to be Darwin Núñez. He is not worth the money they have spent on him at all. Fuck me, he is garbage. He is absolute trash for the amount of money that they spent on him. Maybe if he'd gone somewhere else for, a much, much, much lesser fee, then you could, make a point to say, you know what, 5 goals, 2 assists, he'll figure it out. But 100 million, he doesn't have time to figure out. That pressure is on him when you get that price tag put on you. That is just poor business from Liverpool. And then they went and signed Cody Gakpo, and they still haven't fixed their midfield problems. So I could make another whole entire rant video just about Liverpool's January window and the disaster they had there. But obviously I'm not going to do that, because I can say it now. Liverpool haven't fixed their midfield, and they signed Cody Gakpo to fix the Darwin Núñez and Luis Diaz injury problem. I don't really know what they're doing, what their plan is. They're not getting Jude Bellingham either. You heard that. You can take that to the bank, because why would they spend 100 million on another player when they're trying to sell the club? So it makes no sense there. But anyways, let's go ahead. Let's move on. Manchester City, Calvin Phillips. I mean, there's no other player it could be. I'm not going to pick Erling Haaland. I'm not going to pick literally anyone else. Calvin Phillips hasn't featured, I think, other than maybe a few cup matches. He's not gotten the game time. And why was he signed? Why did City sign him? I don't understand that. It doesn't make sense to me. And that's why Calvin Phillips has easily been maybe even the worst signing of the summer. It's pretty close, because even Darwin Núñez is at least on the field. At least he's starting. Actually, we're going to talk about the worst signing a little bit later, but Calvin Phillips is definitely up there. Manchester United, it's got to be Antony. He broke the market, and he's got very little to show for it in the output section and just dribbling in general. I think he's just a big bunch of tricks. I think he does a bunch of tricks, but I don't really think he beats many players. And so it doesn't really make much sense why Antony is, has that price tag. He really hasn't done anything to make it worth it, make that price tag worth it. And so that's, for me, why he's been Manchester United's worst signing this summer, mostly because of the price tag than anything else. Same thing with Darwin Núñez. You put that price tag on you, you've got to back it up. Newcastle United, it's got to be Matt Targett. I know he was brought in on loan and then signed on a permanent, so you could say he wasn't a summer signing, because I'm pretty sure there was an obligation to buy. But I'm going to go with Matt Targett anyways. He lost his spot to Dan Burn. I mean, come on. You're a left back. You're a natural left back, and lost it to a 6 foot something center back named Dan Burn. You lost your left back spot to. How do you do that? How are you that? Oh my God. What a mess from Newcastle that business is. That's probably been the worst signing of the Newcastle Saudi Arabia era, without a doubt for me. Matt Targett definitely just has not been a player that they should have. Nottingham Forest, Emmanuel Dennis, because they've already tried to sell him. He's gotten, I think, 1 goal, 1 assist or something like that, or a few goal contributions. They've already tried to sell him. There's really no point in him being there at this point. They've signed 31 players in the last 2 windows, and he has been one that has missed for them, unfortunately, because I really like Emmanuel Dennis, and I would have liked to see him at Everton and see how he done in, for Frank Lampard and now for Sean Dyche. I would have liked to see as well. For Southampton, I'm going to go with Sekou Mara. Obviously, Southampton went so young on all their purchases that he just has 1 assist, so that's why I'm picking him for my striker. He hasn't gotten a goal yet this season. He hasn't gotten a Premier League goal, so I'm just going to go with him. 20 years old. He was signed from the French League 2, a team that I believe got relegated from the French League to the second division, Sekou Mara. That's why he's only got 1 assist, and I'm going to pick him, and he'll probably be playing in the Championship, and maybe he'll figure it out and get minutes in the Championship. Tottenham, I mean, it's pretty easy. You've got 0 goals in return for a player that costs 58 million. It's got to be Richarlison. There's really not much else to say. Yeah, he scored in the Champions League, and he made a big deal about it, and he hasn't done anything since. All he is just, he just causes problems on the field. He causes, he's just a bit of a, shit house, if you will, and that's really all there is. I mean, he got slide tackled, can't remember who it was against, for showboating, and he didn't even do anything. He didn't do anything to put Tottenham in the position they were in. He was showboating as a sub. For West Ham, it's got to be Maxwell Cornet. He's got 0 goals, 0 assists. It could have been Kehrer or Emerson too. Did not expect much from Flynn Downs, to be honest, so that's why he's not even in consideration for this. But Maxwell Cornet, I would have expected at least a goal, at least a few assists for him, but West Ham have not really utilized him very much at all this season, especially with the resurgence of a player like Said Benrahma, who, yes, has been playing a little more central, and obviously Jared Bowen's still very good on the right, but on the left, I can't even think of who they have on the left at this moment, but, I mean, it's nobody. It doesn't really matter for Maxwell Cornet because he's not been very good this season. And lastly, I mean, Wolverhampton Wanderers, it has to be the worst transfer signing, summer signing ever. It has to be the worst signing ever because they spent $32.6 million on him. Yes, it's not the Lukaku situation where they bought him for like whatever, $100 million something and then loaned him out the next season. They spent $32.6 million on this player, got 1 goal from him, and then loaned him out to Benfica 6 months later. That is absolutely atrocious business. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like down below again and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.